Trader.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Rational Investor with my amazing camera. And we've got a tree in the background and the cold plunge, which I only used like 2 times this week. I gotta work on that. I need to use it. My goal is like at least 4 or 5 times a week. It's not fun. I don't know how many of you have tried cold plunge, but it's not particularly, it doesn't feel great. Let's put it that way. Let me pull up the YouTube here so I can take your questions. And I also realized that I forgot to load up all of our economic stuff that I like to look at. So, and I will shrink myself. You don't have to look at my face this big. Don't worry. Hello, Lori. Welcome. 2 people watching now. Should get up to, the goal is to get over 50. If I can get over 50, I will be a very, very happy person. That's the goal. I've gotten, the last 2 weeks I've had 40. I'd like to get 50 plus. I'm thinking the smartphone camera should help. Let me get things pulled up over here and then we'll get going. Let's see. Forex Factory. We want coin analyze. We want coin glass. Liquidations. I want fear and greed. There was another thing I wanted to talk about today and show you guys that it's slipping my brain right now, but I do want to, let's bring up fear and greed. And Bitcoin also. There was one other thing. I can't remember. All right, 6 people here. Great. Drinking some coconut water. All right, we're in greed. Not extreme greed, but greed. I'm gonna shrink myself. Let me shrink myself now that you guys are joining. You don't need to see this. All right, I will be very small in the corner here. Let me know if you guys want it smaller or bigger. It's totally up to you. Fine with anything. Oh, 8 people. All right, let's go over what's going on in the news. Tesla earnings came out, right? So, you know, every week I've been talking about Tesla. It's up 20% today. How much are we up? I was very long Tesla, so I am super happy. Let's do it over here. You can see all the things that I'm obviously watching based on this. So Tesla's up 18.32% today. Insanity. You guys know that I'm very bullish on Tesla. Fundamentally, I think it's all coming together. And if Trump wins the election, especially with Elon and him being buddy-buddy, there's nothing stopping this Tesla stock from taking off and heading to my lofty targets up here, 4.669 and maybe even 4.669 at 560. I've got 2 different ones. This one leads to 560 and another one leads to 775. 775 is derived from this here. Let me see if I can brush. So this right here, right? This W, if we break out above here, and that gives you your 775 chaos level target, which is basically a triple from here. It's not a bad, it wouldn't be a bad trade. So yeah, Tesla earnings came out, skyrocketed higher, looking very good on a monthly chart now. I mean, if it in the next 7 days closes up here, that's extremely bullish looking chart on the monthly. Okay, let's go back to the news here. So we had, today is, whoa, why is it showing July? That's weird. Go back here. All right, today, October. Flash manufacturing, flash services came in basically in line. New home sales came in above. So everything's kind of basically positive. And obviously we have the big Tesla news, like I said, which is, I think, helping push markets up. We're positive, I believe, on the day. Let's go back to the S&P. We will get to crypto. Don't worry, we will. I will talk about crypto extensively. So anybody here for crypto, just stay tuned. We'll talk about it in like 30, 40 minutes. I'm surprised there aren't more people saying hi. Why aren't you guys saying hi? You're supposed to interact, say hi, ask me questions. That's why I do this live, to interact with you guys. So you gotta talk. I understand if you're eating lunch or going about your day and you don't want to talk, but if you can, comment, talk, say whatever you want. Okay, so let's look at the S&P and see what's going on here. The big thing I wanted to talk about, by the way, is liquidity and bank term funding program that I'm concerned about. So I've got actually 2 liquidity charts now. I've been looking at global liquidity. Hello, Nora. Hello, Mark. I've got global liquidity, and I also have global liquidity. I have, like, this one is not global. This is more US based, and then this one is global. And you can see how they're starting to, they had a huge ramp up, and now they're kind of pulling it back a bit, which probably explains why the S&P is stagnating a bit. You can also see it here. Here it's not, it got pushed up and then it's stagnating. It's similar, but you can see how global liquidity takes into account the European and Asian effects. They were definitely, somebody was definitely pumping things up a bit, and now they're tapering off, which explains why the stock market is kind of pausing a bit up here. We also have the 9 that came in. I talked about this last week, and I said that you're probably at least going to get a pause. Like, I think I don't see the market moving much more beyond this level that we were at until the election is over. Like, we are still in an uptrend. Look at my daily. It's just this RSI is just barely hanging on. As long as this line is intact, we're in an uptrend. Things should keep going higher. Hello, crypto. Welcome. So that's the main thing I'm watching. I'm seeing if this is going to break, and I should probably set an alert instead of checking it every day. I'm always checking it, but probably should set an alert. Let's set an alert once per bar close. So then it'll alert me if we go below it. I don't want to do once per bar because it's going to alert me already. You can see how we basically hit my ABCD target, but my higher, I'm going to get rid of this. My higher target was up here at 5950. And I talked about this a lot, basically 5,900, 5,950. That was my 4.669 target from way down here when we created that W. And you had different levels, 2.618 and stuff like that respected, 3.59, 3. This 3 level was respected, and the final was up here. But we also had this ABCD pointing to 58887, which we came just short. We went to 58880. So somebody front ran this. I mean, if I can see this, there's tons of people looking at this. And AI robots, of course, as well. So, yeah, not surprised at what's happening here. But the uptrend is still intact as long as this RSI is still intact. We did get a rollover in MACD. And we're not looking good as far as the lower time frame RSI metrics. But a lot of these are oversold. I mean, if we go down to like a 1 hour, right? This looks like it could put in a bit of a W. There's some little bit of unconfirmed divergence. Price kind of needs to come down more while MACD doesn't, and then you'll have the divergence of something like this. You know, take out the lows and then bounce, and then, you know, MACD is still like that, and then that's how you get your divergence. So something like that I would ideally like to see. Interesting, we're rolling over here. We opened strong, and then we just suddenly rolled over. Wonder how that's affecting Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin basically trades 1 hour chart. Bitcoin basically trades with the S&P. Like, if the S&P goes down, crypto goes down. It's owned by Wall Street at this point. I don't really feel like with crypto you're really in something different. It's just if the S&P goes down, crypto is also going to go down. So that's why we always look at the S&P first, see what that's doing, see what a couple of stocks are doing in the S&P. Then we look at, you know, DXY, gold, silver, things like that, to see what those markets are doing, since some people say like Bitcoin is a modern day gold. I like to look at those, and then we get into the crypto market. But at the end of the day, everything is about what the S&P does. I feel like a broken record. I talk about this every week. Yeah, so let me go back to the S&P. That's what I'm kind of seeing. I don't, when you have a all these time frames that are looking bearish, and then you have a weekly time frame that's still kind of bullish but has a TD9, which is considered a pause, and then a monthly that is still very bullish. Like this is obviously bullish on a monthly time frame, and you have these conflicting lower time frames. You usually get a pause in the market. You don't get much movement. You end up getting a range, and then you just trade the range. And that's kind of what's happening right here. I could see a range developing and us kind of just bouncing in between these zones, right? Like this. Maybe we hit up here and then get rejected. And I kind of just see that happening until the election is over. I don't know of any major events that are coming out. I mean, unless somebody bombs someone. If there's massive bombs going off, then obviously, you know, something has to break and things are going to change. But pending that happening, which hopefully it doesn't, then I expect the market to just range until the election. I mean, we're not that far away, right? We're only, let me see how many. We've got what, 2 weeks? Less than 2 weeks at this point. So, and it seems like Trump is pulling ahead. I don't like to talk about politics, but I think in terms of the market and how it's going to affect the market, it's important to pay attention. And I don't know. I just don't see how. I would be very shocked if Trump loses at this point. I was saying before that I would be surprised if he wins, but now I've been watching a lot of videos of like people going around and interviewing people in the streets, and I'm surprised at the number of people that are saying they're for Trump. I didn't think it was that huge, and that's good because I think he's, I don't know, it's just my opinion. I feel that if Trump wins, that will be good for crypto and that will be good for the markets. And then we'll see like a massive boost. And then we'll go from there once we have more data, and I'll reevaluate. I don't want to make any other predictions, but just based on a lot of videos I'm seeing, I don't see how there's too much positive momentum. And he's also going on Joe Rogan Friday tomorrow, so he's going to be on Joe Rogan. I watched some Joe Rogan videos. I think they're good. I don't think he's any more special. I don't understand why he's so popular, because I listen to a lot of podcasts and I don't think he's any different than other podcasters. But apparently it's big, so be interested to watch tomorrow. All right, no more politics. Only reason I mentioned it was to relate to the markets. Oh, we've got 19 now. Good. Want to get over that 20 number and then shoot right to 40. Okay, so that's kind of my view on the S&P. Not much more to go into there. I already talked about Tesla. Let me know if you guys want to look at any other stocks in particular, and we can. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the DXY. You can see how the dollar put in a W here on the weekly chart and just bounced. And it's actually overbought on the daily now. Massively overbought with a 9 coming in. So I do expect a pause, which could provide some nice positive momentum for stocks to kind of reverse here and create that range that I was talking about. Also for crypto, I could see crypto getting a bit of a push if DXY can roll over just for a little bit. So, you know, expect a bit of a pullback here, or at least a pause. That's kind of what Tom DeMark signifies for us. And then we have this is basically your daily uptrend, right? So you could get a pullback all the way down to here. Let me see if I can kind of draw that for you guys. And if we look at this move higher, we put our fibs. Oops, I don't want to go that way. Yeah, so I can see a pullback down to like 103, 102. This area looks like a major support. So something like this. And then pull back, and then just a bounce in this area before then moving higher. Assuming this uptrend line stays intact. That's what I'm assuming. As long as this stays intact, then I expect this scenario to play out. And then in the meantime, the market will move higher when this happens, and crypto will also move higher. Okay, there's that. Now let's get to metals. I have a feeling today's going to be a faster show. You guys aren't talking that much. Like last week, People were talking nonstop. It was like nonstop chatting. Everybody's gone into a coma, or they're planning their Halloween costumes. I didn't properly mix my coconut water drink here. Yeah, I will definitely look at that, Mark, later on once we get into crypto. Okay, let's see what is going on. So gold already shot through my original target zones, and we went up right up to my ABCD target at 2725. So it's already gone through a lot of what I talked about, and now it's hit a 9, and it's obviously rejecting and pausing. The final target is 3000. That's the final target. There was an ABCD target to here. It makes sense that we would pause, and then the final target is up at 3000, which it may push to once the dollar pulls back more. I don't know why I can't highlight this. I want to get rid of it. Yeah, just get rid of that. Do you have a social media account or Twitter where you post market updates? I post market updates in the TRI Discord. So you can sign up in TRI, free trial, 30-day free trial, and I post updates in our Discord there. But I just do videos here like once a week just to update people on what I'm thinking in the community and out of the community. And to tell people like you that you can find me in Discord. I will maybe start posting to Twitter. I'm just not. I like to keep it in the community, but I understand the benefit of using Twitter to kind of market and stuff like that to grow the inner community. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at for gold. Really simply, I expect this 4.669 to be tagged eventually. If I look at a weekly chart, I can maybe make that more clear. I was looking at this range. Gold broke out of that range, and that's why you're seeing this huge rally. This was a 3-year. This is actually a 3-year range. So markets range 60 to 80% of the time. So it makes sense if we ranged for 3 years here, that within 1 year we should hit the next target and then go back to ranging for another 3 to 4 years before the next move. That's what I expect. Hello, JP. Welcome. But need to hit that final target. So that's what I'm expecting for gold. The move's almost over. I mean, if you weren't in by like February, then you kind of missed most of it, which is fine. It's just 50%, right? I mean, Bitcoin did like 400% in the past year and a half. So you can just there's so many places to trade and make money. It doesn't have to be like one or the other. So if you missed it, don't get upset or beat yourself up. I know there's people that, oh, I missed it. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. It's not a big deal. You can find something else. There's always something going up. Silver, a lot of people are interested in silver, so I like to just touch base on it. It did hit the target. Look, our target was right here, 35.7. We came really close, 34.8. Still in an uptrend as of right now. Yeah, uptrend is intact. Right, so I would just do like that as long as we're above this trend line. Uptrend is intact. Also hit a 9, so a little pullback here makes sense. And then let me see what happens here right at this level. Yeah, so chaos is pointing to 38.37, but we had a lot of levels from consolidations back here. Go to a weekly time frame. That usually works better. This was your ABCD target, by the way. So we took it from basically here and then applied it here to get that target up here. But I'm trying to see based on this range. So it looks like the weekly range is kind of like that. I think that works better. It's possible that this was the 1.618 tag right here. So I always try to line up these levels, and then the next one is 2.618 right here, and then that means the final would be 43. My original gold target was 34 to 35. Now we hit that, And looking at this range a little bit more closely, and now I have some more data, so I can line up this 2.618, 1.618. The final target might actually be 43. That's a significant move left still. 30% on silver. Huh. That's surprising. Let me get rid of some of this stuff. It does line up with an old chaos level here, 16.88. I don't know where that was drawn from, but it lines up. That's some nice confluence. Yeah, uptrend still. I'm trying to look like, if you're not long, where is your entry? Breakdown on the 4-hour. I would like to see him move down into the 31, 32 area, and then you can jump into a long. I think that would be the move to watch for. You could look at like a 12-hour or an 8-hour. I think maybe 4 hours are better. And what I would do is I might even go to a 2-hour, and I would do something like that, and I would wait to see like what is a possible reversal. And I would also go to a 4-hour here and look at my fib levels. Say that's my high and my low. There's your 38.2 pullback, but I would want to get long here. So between 32 and 30.6 is where I would kind of hunt for longs. Hello, GLS. Welcome. A lot of new people today that I haven't seen before. Where's Cotter and all my other longtime legacy fans? I mean, it's good to see new people. I appreciate it. I'm just wondering, where's everybody else? Okay, so that's what I would look for with silver. Easy pullback. This is generally our reload zones, and it lines up with my trend heuristic channel, which you can see has been respected in the past right here, and multiple other times. If we go back, it was semi-respected, broken through here. Here is the market's just ranging, so it doesn't really make a difference. But here in this kind of uptrend, I would expect this to be highly respected. Hello, Zerkel. Hello, Ucha. Ucha, good to see you. There's some regulars. I had to say something so they would speak up. Okay, that's silver. That's it. We're going through everything pretty fast. I mean, how long have I been talking for? Oh, 20 minutes already. I think I'm going to get through everything within an hour today. It's going to be an early night for me. Is there anything else I want to talk about in the legacy market? I talked about the dollar. I talked about currencies or commodities. Well, just gold and silver, actually. I talked about the S&P. What else? Is there anything else you guys want to talk about in the legacy market? Otherwise, I'm gonna go straight into crypto. And as soon as I start talking about Bitcoin, we're gonna skyrocket to like 40 to 50 people. It always happens. Okay, have a great day, Mr. Bleeding Crypto. Hopefully your account is not bleeding. Anything you guys want to look at? Otherwise, I'm just gonna jump into crypto. I'm gonna go right to Bitcoin. Tesla. Yeah, I already talked about Tesla, Josh. Go back. Does your RSI indicator look different from the standard one? What is its name? Yeah, it's my own custom RSI indicator. So, yeah, you could probably take a. I have to look into sharing it. If you message me on the Discord, just like submit a support ticket or something and say like, hey, can I get Julian's RSI indicator? I can connect with you and probably give you access to it. I just have to like grant it. Just give me your TradingView username and I'll try to grant access to it for you. It's not really that different. The yellow line is basically the same as the standard. I just have this green and red to remind me of when, you know, the market might continue in that direction. So this is red, meaning, you know, it's probably going down, and green is going up. That kind of thing. LTBR. So Lori said LTBR. Okay, we can try that. LTBR. Lightbridge Corporation. What is this? All right, good to hear. Well, good to hear that you are not a lurker anymore and you're talking. I appreciate that. Did you ask about this before, Lori? I feel like this is not my first time looking at this. I mean, it looks good. This was the buy here, though. The buy was here at 250. It's amazing that it took off. I mean, this is great. What happened? Lightbridge jump after CEO notes strong nuclear demand. Oh, okay. It's a nuclear, something with nuclear. This is something where I really need to look at it on like a monthly chart. Look at that. Holy crap. So back in like 2000. Wow. So you could have gotten this at 25 a share. And in 2004, it went from 25 to, holy crap. And then it went to 1,500 a year after that. What kind of percent return is that? 4,300%. That's nuts. Look at the volume here. Do you know some kind of insider information about this, Lori? I mean, this is interesting to me. Look at the volume. That's crazy. What is going on here? But I mean, this stock hasn't. The problem is that this hasn't done anything since basically 2017. You had in 2018, you had like one big move. Man, it's still a nice 10x. Look at the volume. That's basically been your range. Let's see if we have any kind of divergence. You do have a nice MACD divergence here, RSI divergence as well. Clearly, there is some type of reversal, long-term reversal happening here. I mean, you had all these downtrend lines broken out of, little W's formed. This was your like little W, right? So if I go down to a weekly chart. That's kind of your W right there, right? Which is interesting because the 4.669 is up here. We go to a daily. Yeah, I definitely looked at this before. Why didn't I buy it then? I probably talked about it and I forgot. I'll have to go back and look at my other episodes. Lori, did I talk about this before? Did you ask me about this? Did I talk about it? Very interesting. The question is, I think the important question is this a buy now? I think it's a buy if it pulls back a bit more. Like if we go here and we go here. So I would like to be a buyer down here. Right there, this zone between 4.3 and like $3. That would be the zone where I would be happy going long or move up, as long as this trend line stays intact, which it should. If it comes down here, it should stay intact. Yeah, it's interesting. Just keep in mind that this is one of those stocks where you might end up holding forever, waiting for that move to happen. And maybe it eventually happens and pays off, and maybe it doesn't. And then your capital has just been locked up for. So it's all about, how long you are willing to wait and take that opportunity cost for that capital. I'm going to set an alert for this. Let's put a 4.9, and I also want to alert like 3.7. Very cool. Thank you for sharing. Hopefully you guys got some value out of that one. I mean, that's one to keep on the radar. Only because 10 years ago it was worth a massive amount of money. I'd have to look into this company more. There must be a reason the stock, basically died. Okay. I think on that note, we will switch over to crypto. Now that I've got 30 people, oh, I had 30 for like 1 minute. Somebody dropped off. Impatience. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Monthly chart to start with. And everyone knows that this looks hyper bullish. I mean, it'd be ridiculous to say anything otherwise. Obviously, monthly chart massively bullish, likely going to break out higher. If you're only playing stocks, you can play this, by the way, with things like Riot, right? Riot's like a Bitcoin play, and you can play it with BT, Bit Digital, and there's a bunch of other ones. I mean, obviously, there's the ETFs that you can play with. So, a bunch of things that you could kind of play with for crypto if you don't actually own crypto, but you have stocks and you want to play that game. Okay, let's go back to Bitcoin. So it's super bullish on a monthly chart. I think there's no denying that. And even on a weekly, recently, you know, this is kind of your breakout, and you can see MACD turned blue or turned green. So we're bullish with MACD. The last time this happened was here. Look at that, and then price just took off. So the last time Bitcoin really moved and MACD changed on a weekly chart, we went from 29,000 all the way up to 35 within a week, and then we never looked back after that. You could see something like that happen here. I really believe that you could. And we've got approximate upside target. If we look at the general, if we conservatively look at the range here, possible upside of like 126. You could also do like a conservative ABCD, which then takes you up to 98,000. So something like that. Even more conservative, the most conservative 4.669 target would be about 117,000. I really can't get more conservative than that. I mean, this has been a massive range that we've been sitting in, but obviously this is it's coming to an end. And I think the only likely move is up. Yes, I will look at link, Michael. Thank you for the question. Yeah, I'm thinking after the election. I just don't. I would be surprised if this moves higher before, but it does look very bullish. Like, you have to keep in mind that we've been stuck in this. Basically, I mean, it essentially looks like a bull flag to me. Since March. Now, why? The question is, why did the market top? Hello, Biomass. Welcome. Glad to see you here. Always like seeing repeats. As I was saying, the question is, why did crypto stop going up in March? Why do you guys think? Why did it stop here? Like, we just rocketed higher and then boom, stop. Why? There's actually a couple of reasons, but I think, in my opinion, I mean, obviously because we broke all-time highs, right? We took out any probably shorts that were up here, massive liquidity taken out. So, of course, it's going to stop, especially when people are probably like, oh, my God, it's going to go to all-time highs. It broke the all-time high, so it's going to go higher, and they probably bought a lot, and they're like, okay, now it's time to pull the rug out. Yeah, and technically, it was overextended, right? But markets can stay overextended a lot longer than you can stay sane. Or your account can stay liquid if you're shorting. What is the other reason? Does anybody know? No, nobody. I'm encouraging participation here. You get participation points the more you talk, the more questions you're allowed to ask later when we're talking about crypto coins that you guys want to talk about. Nothing? All right. I will just tell you the answer. Right here. So we look up Google Trends, Bitcoin or crypto. Oh, here you go. Let's look at the past 12 months. Right here in March was when the retail interest hit a peak. Retail interest massively peaked, and that was when it was time to unload the bags. And that's what they do. So once, watch this metric, watch Google Trends, and if we get anything over like 80, 75 interest, start being careful. Don't add longs. Consider starting to take profits, because that, and if you see the news starting to talk about Bitcoin, that's when they're getting ready to like unload on the public. Like, okay, things went up, we made our money, now it's time to talk about it on the news, push it out everywhere. I mean, after this election cycle, if you're paying attention, you must realize how the news is kind of, it's just a manipulation organization, at least most of the major networks. Well, I think that there is especially now, there's going to be, I mean, Wall Street is massively involved with ETFs at this point, right? And they're buying up huge supplies of Bitcoin. It's not that hard to manipulate a market like you think it is, because when most of the supply is stagnant, it's not moving, it's not in the liquidity pools. So if there's a very low supply of something, it's easy to manipulate price one way or another if most people are just holders. Hopefully that makes sense. But the point is, just follow this, because that's going to give you a general topping signal once the next run starts. If it does, because I'm also concerned. This is extremely bullish, and I think we will see higher, but I am concerned about the S&P. It's very overvalued, and I think that you also need to keep in mind the potential that if the S&P starts crashing, that Bitcoin will go down with it. Now, it looks super bullish here, but the only thing that could derail this super bullishness is if the S&P starts crashing, Bitcoin's going to get pulled down, and we could go down to like, sorry, not there, probably like this area right here, 40K. That would be your major support area. That could happen, and that might be a way to wash out everyone before moving higher. But I'm thinking that's more of a black swan potential event. That's not my primary scenario. My primary scenario is that we will start moving higher very soon in earnest. Let's check the liquidation heat map. I always like to look at this, right? I always talk about it, and I see people on the site using it now because they know it works. So Bitcoin 24-hour liquidation heat map, upside is the way to go. So 68,000 up to 68,500. That is a move up from here. Oops. $68,500 right here. That's like a 1.25%. Not huge, but it is a decent little move to the upside. Let's go to like a 6-month chart, because we have been ranging for over 6 months, right? No, I think that would push alts down. I think it would be a disaster for alts. They'd get destroyed, as they always do when Bitcoin pulls back. We'll look at 1 year first. So yeah, doomsday scenario right here, 46,800. That would be the level you'd want to watch to consider, start picking up longs in the case that the S&P just crashes. And that would be the only thing I could see causing that would be if some massive war was started. Somebody declared something on someone. That's the only way I could see that happening. But this would be your zone you'd want to look for if you're interested in buying. You can see we have lots of liquidations up here, by the way, also 73,000, 74,000. If we go to 1 week, yeah, you can see all the liquidations of the upside are there. They already took out a lot to the downside. Even just today, when we dropped to 65,800. If I show you on this chart, I mean, this was a solid little pullback right here to scare people. This is what you want to see before another move up. We needed to get this pullback. This was about Only 6%, which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things. Something like 17% would have been better. But there might be a lot of people waiting down here trying to get long. So that's why there's no real benefit to going down here to let those people get in and rather just move higher. But anyway, I'm not going to get insanely bullish until I see this broken out of. I want to see a daily. You want to see a daily candle push above here, tag, and then a push higher. And that's the area when you're like, okay, for sure, we're moving up. Now I can go balls to the walls long, and it should just power up like crazy. Where within a couple days, the price is at like 85 to 90K. You really have to watch this. It can happen super fast. Do not fall asleep at the wheel here. Don't get lazy because you could miss this move. Nobody said trading was easy. It's not. Yeah, 35. It's dropping because you're talking about it. Don't jinx it. You're jinxing it. All right, let's look at slightly lower time frames. So I showed the liquidity. I showed how a lot of it is to the upside. I do like to look at where is it? Liquidation map. I do like to also look at this and see like what the liquidations look like on each side. Let's go to like so on the 1 day you can see there's only up to about 68,550. That's all there is, 780 million. But on the downside, all the way down to 64, there's 2.5 billion. 2.5 billion in liquidations to the downside. That's why I always look at this too, because there are things that you see here that you don't see elsewhere. 68,700, 66,000. Yeah, so if we pull back 64.7, so if we pull back by 3,000 points, we get 2.2 billion in liquidations. And meanwhile, if we push up by 3,000, we actually get 4.6 billion on a 7-day chart. That shows that there's more liquidations to the upside. Let's see 30-day before I make any firm conclusions. Okay, so that's 3,000 to the upside there, 3.7 billion, and to the downside 3,000, 3.3 billion. So that's pretty equal on a 30-day. While on the 7-day, there's a lot more to the upside. And then on the 1 day, there's a lot more to the downside. I hate these time frames because then you get conflicting viewpoints. So I would say all of this is kind of worthless. I don't know which it to me it looks like we're going to keep heading up. I mean, this is, if we look at the metrics, go to a daily. Daily is still in an uptrend. It looks decent. And let me wait for my little metric to show up over here. I mean, the weekly and the daily are both bullish. So I have to lean bullish. I can't. I think we'll hit those upside targets and the liquidations first for sure. We'll at least go to the liquidations that I showed here. Right here. At least grab this 68. Like, why wouldn't they? It's basically free money. Why not hit these first? 68,500. Very easy. And you can even see the daily kind of trying to reverse here. And a 4-hour is trying to move higher. You can even go down here. So that's your 1 hour uptrend, right? As long as that's intact, I can see it moving higher to at least hit that 68,800 level right up here, which, what does that line up with? I actually don't know what that lines up with, but right here, it basically lines up with the top of this downtrend line, which has been, I mean, how many times have we tagged this? 1, 2, this is the third, could be the fourth time. Maybe the first time is when we just break through and move higher. Zerkel asked any recent buys in crypto. I bought some more IMX recently. I think that's the only one. Mostly I'm holding, especially with in my personal account. We're actually looking at, so right now, maybe I'll show you guys this and talk about it. me see if I can log in. Let's load. Why is it not loading? Why is it taking so long? Oh no, it's pretty fast. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so I have a portfolio here on our site, which this needs to be updated. I don't think it's down 34. It's like down 30%. And a lot of it is because I bought this one coin called Defend, which the whole point of this portfolio was to show about using technical analysis and following certain like coin promoters I was following people like Alex Becker and stuff's portfolios, and I was saying, okay, let's look at technicals and when do these look like decent buys. And you can see like ZKML is up 50%, so it's not bad, but I didn't buy it in a huge amount. But another guy who I unfollowed, and I think I posted about, because Brian posted something from him, and I found out from, I think it's Zach XPT or somebody else said that this guy is engagement farming and runs like all these different kind of AI bot accounts. This one, I think he was recommending, and it ended up basically being like a rug pull. So that hurt the portfolio the most. And then a couple of these are down just like 20%. I don't know what happened with this Pika. It's also another crappy one. So it just shows that like all these coins that these influencers recommend, and even if you're using technical analysis and finding a decent bottom, they can still roll over. And it's why I'm not a fan of this method. So I've talked to Brian and Siord about this and explained that this is not how I do my normal trading. It's just something we thought was easier to follow. But we may look at liquidating this portfolio, and we're going to make a new portfolio that follows the strategy I like to employ, which is holding key like blue chip style coins. So the top ones that I hold in my personal account are Optimism, Solana right now, and Rune. Rune are those are the three. And I also have on the side, these are smaller positions. I have IMX, Render, this one called Celo, and Tau. Those are the ones, the smaller ones I have. But my big positions are Optimism, Solana, and Rune. Now the question is why those? Well, those are projects that have existed for a while, have solid technicals behind them and reasons for existing. And the biggest thing is, at least in my personal portfolio, I can trade them on CoinM futures, which means that I can actually trade on a lower time frame and use a little bit of margin to get more coins, which then turbocharges my portfolio performance. So I'm looking at liquidating this one and then this one there, and then doing the same thing for TRI via this portfolio to demonstrate that kind of trading strategy, where, well, this one is more of like kind of doing the same as what Brian's doing. And I think it doesn't fit with my strategy. I prefer something, as Brian likes to call, a little more high octane. So we're going to meet and talk about it tomorrow. I don't know for sure if we're going to change to it, but that's the plan. I think the following of the influencers has been a fail. And I think we can get rid of this one. But hopefully I prove my point with, you shouldn't follow just random people on Twitter. And that includes me too. I'm a random person talking on YouTube. There's no reason why you need to follow me. You should do your own research and then decide what's best for you. And then ends up telling you to connect your Coinbase wallet. And if that should fail, quote, just enter your seed. Yeah, you have to. I agree. Yeah, you never give away that kind of stuff. Okay, so Zerikella, hopefully that helps. IMX is something that I watched and I like. Okay, let's go back. I just thought I'd give that little minor site update. So again, short-term target for Bitcoin is to the upside, 68,520. And we can see it's bullish on a daily. And I went down to these lower time frames to show you the breakout on the 1 hour and the move higher and the eventual target up here, right there, right? Okay, so that's Bitcoin on in the short term. In the long term, I'm still leaning to the upside in the event of some cataclysmic thing happening and then pulling the S&P down, which then pulls all of this down. And then that will then pull all the altcoins down, right? Okay, Solana been on an absolute tear. Also on the weekly, right? So I was waiting for this. We broke out on the other side for RSI and also for MACD. Look at that. Beautiful reversal move. Weekly, that's a big, strong signal. And even on the daily chart, it's overbought at this point. You know, very, 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 very bullish move higher. We're about to hit my first target right here. My first target is 1.776. And we got to 177.34. And I'm right at 1.177.8. Maybe someone's front running it. Who knows? But that's the first target where I expect a pause and a pullback before then we gear up for the next move to 200. And there'll probably be something that happens at 190 also. Yeah, so that's the all-time high before back in July. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of a rejection in that area before we then move up to 2.618. And the final target for this cycle would be around 250 for Solana. I mean, it could potentially go higher, but that's what I'm currently looking at. So hopefully that makes sense. There is an 8 coming in on the 4 hour. So I'm hoping that this target gets hit and I can take profits on my margin long before that TD9 comes in and then pushes price back down. Why is that showing? I want to get rid of some of this. Yeah. Okay. So you can see uptrend still intact. This is when you want a long on margin on futures when everything is green. That's your go signal. But then when these 7 and 8 start coming in, that's when you want to take a bit of profits. I'm not saying take profit on spot. I'm just saying in like a margin long, which is more fun to me. I just like it better. It works better with my strategies. That's Solana. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Optimism, very disappointed with optimism here. Acting very strange. Upon first inspection, it looks strange. But then when you go to a weekly chart, you see, oh, there was a TD 7 and 8. And we actually have the opposite market conditions compared to Solana, where everything is red. And that's a condition where you want to short it. But I'm not doing that simply because Bitcoin is driving the bus and I'm leaning bullish with Bitcoin. So if altcoins most of the time follow Bitcoin, it would not be very smart to short another coin just because all the RSIs are saying down. Now, if all the RSIs were saying up, of course I would long it because that aligns with Bitcoin. They're on the same path. But this coin is trading, it seems like it's on a different path from Bitcoin. And that's why I'm a little bit on the fence about this one. And I think it needs some time to work through this before moving higher. You can see it's kind of flatlined here. Cello and Rune. Yeah, I have both of those. Cello and Rune are a big part of my portfolio, and we will be getting to them. Here's Rune right here. So you can see you're still like kind of intact. And MACD is looking decent, but it's not, this doesn't look nearly as good as like Solana, obviously. So I am long spot, and I am holding that. But it's tough to justify any kind of leverage longs considering what the RSI, the disaster that is RSI. No opinion on Sailor or anything related to that. Okay, so that's optimism. Disappointed. I don't know if it's gonna break down. I think if Bitcoin breaks up, it should break up. It's just having a bit of a bear moment. Rune is also a big holding of mine. And you can see how the MACD has been bullish for a while. However, you do have a 9 coming in on the weekly chart. Not a fan of that. And this is not as clean cut as the, what did we look at? What was it called? I forget. But as the other coin we were looking at, this is not as clean cut. And there is potential for rejection here. However, like I said, I like that MACD was green, but you can see how price is kind of flatlined, which is what happens when you have conflicting RSIs. Kind of waiting for, so you actually have green on most of them except like a 5-minute, which doesn't really count. But you do have the TD9 on the weekly, which I could see creating a bit of a pause. And that's exactly what we're kind of seeing here. Not much of a breakout. And this daily is actually too noisy. When a crypto coin doesn't move enough, or even a stock, these Momo indicators kind of flatline, which is exactly what you're seeing. And then you have to go to the lower time frames and like estimate where do you expect things to go. And it just gets more and more noisy and annoying. Well, that's the state of things with Rune. I don't have any crazy price targets or anything. I would just, my recommendation would be to just try to survive this range until it breaks out to the upside. Hello, Min. Welcome. Good to see you. Oh, I'm out of water. Let's see here. All right, we're about an hour into this. I'm gonna go through a couple more and then I'm gonna call it a night. I'm feeling a little bit tired today. It's been a long day. Let's go and look at the total 3. So total 3 also looks bullish to the upside. That's good for most altcoins other than optimism. It's just not not participating, and I'm a little bit salty about that. Weekly also bullish here. And if we look at this as the range, and eventual target is all the way up here, which lines up with our ABCD at $940 billion, which means you will get an average increase in your altcoins from right here of about 50%. Another 50% potential increase. Yeah, so Celo, we can look at. I'm yawning a lot. That means it's time to sleep. There's a reason I have Celo, but I didn't add any more on this pullback. This daily looks particularly bearish. It could be a fake out. You are sitting at the trend heuristic level, which is oftentimes a buy for me. So if you feel very bullish, I don't see an issue with buying here. Just keep your stop losses quite tight. Maybe even set a buy down here and set your stop loss lower, because I think there's a high chance that the stop loss here will be hunted, and you'll be taken out, and then it'll skyrocket higher. Go to a weekly chart. I mean, on weekly, it doesn't seem like anything that special. The daily, it needs to reverse there. 4 hour until this is broken up is still kind of in a bear trend. I need like a decisive move higher, something like that, like that. That would increase the likelihood of it potentially happening. Okay, that's Celo. I would take like 1 or 2 more, and then I think we'll call it a night. Oh, because I keep yawning. Anything else you guys want to look at? Now's your chance. Oh, all right. Ethereum. First come, first serve. I don't even really look at Ethereum myself, to be honest. So interesting to see that Ethereum never crossed over bullishly. That's worrying a bit. But we're also on the other side of the RSI. You can see where we broke through the trend line, and now we're looking up. But I would not recommend buying this on margin just yet, because all of the RSI signals are red. That is like on purpose to make sure that you don't act like an idiot. If you've got mixed signals, you got red signals. Red signals means don't trade anything with leverage. Mixed signals depends on which ones are mixed, and you should be sort of okay. And then like if they're all green, it's like, okay, just market buy. Just market buy. It's gonna go up. It has to. It has to. Homie. Homie. Okay, we can look at it really quick. Oh, yikes. Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about this, but I would not. If something looked like this, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't even go near it. I don't even like that I'm looking at it right now. I wouldn't touch it. ERN. This one kind of looks like it's flatlined. At least it's not heading lower, which means the current supply of holders don't really want to sell. I think like, oh, sorry guys. This is kind of your range here. This is like a conservative estimate, which would point it at 4.16, which is essentially a double from here. If we're less conservative, we can go to 6.84. Yeah, 410 it could point to. And honestly, since we had a previous high over here, it's very easy to just do this. Yeah, like that. And people are, sorry, not people, but how do I say this? I can see a move up to 6.8, 61.8, 78.6, and then that's where people might exit again. So it's not a bad 227%, not bad. And it does look like it's getting ready. And weekly looks decent. All of this needs to move a bit higher, but then once it's all green, it should be good to go and just fire up and head into my potentially into my fib levels 7.175 and 7.9. Oh, we'll see. Extreme Footy said, what could even prompt such a bleed out? Are the devs just giving up on the project? Are all insider investors? I mean, I don't know. I never looked at this coin before in my life. You have to look into it to see what's going on. But a coin that is bleeding out like that, personally, I think it's a good idea to stay away because you don't know when that's going to stop. Hopefully that helps. I often like to look at the total. I think it gives clearer signals. So far, uptrend with violent pullbacks. Uptrend is intact. Yeah, right like that. You can see how it was rejected here based on the previous pull. If I go here and do this here, that's not gonna work. But it looks like it wants to break out, which isn't a surprise. So there's that, and that's a good thing to keep an eye on because if that breaks out, then everything's pretty much gonna break out. I'm always in favor of being more efficient, finding better ways to look for things. Any kind of like menial tasks that you can either pay someone else to do or you can use like AI, for example, which works surprisingly well. Okay, I think that's kind of it for me. Somebody said they were buying some coin called Wild. Let's see. Yeah, this. I wonder why. Oh, that's why. Okay, I see why. 5x from here. Green on the weekly. Oh no, it's not. It's still at 45. Green on the daily. But there's a lot that needs to turn green. Daily chart still in an uptrend. Breaking down a little bit on a 4-hour. Yeah, it looks decent from here. That's ChatGPT's coin. I think WorldCoin. Is it? I'm not sure. I just saw people mention it and I thought it looked pretty good. Potential for a big move to the upside. I just want a really good entry. So that's what I'm working on, looking for. I don't want to have to deal with, I'm not going to go into detail, but yes, I'm curious about this coin because so many people are talking about it. A creator released it using ChatGPT to kind of make it interesting. Yeah, so I'll look to long potential and pullbacks. And I would recommend my biggest recommendation is just try to preserve your capital during this time. And after the election, maybe you get a chance to deploy it at way cheaper prices, or you're gonna have to chase. But it's still better than like getting chopped up like this and losing 50 to 80% of your portfolio. Just my opinion. Okay, I think that's all I've got tonight, guys. I'm feeling pretty sleepy. It's been a while since I felt sleepy. Like I didn't feel sleepy for the past couple of weeks, but today I keep yawning. There's potential for Bitcoin to take off any day now. So just try not to be left behind, but also understand that we could get a big pullback first. And it's again, it's all because of the S&P. So that's why you have to make sure to check the S&P. I wish there were more questions from more people. Oh, you're welcome. Welcome, Kevin. Welcome, everyone. Okay, so if you're not part of TRI, consider signing up for a free trial. You get direct access to me, Sjord, Brian. You can ask us any questions in the chat room, and we usually answer. I think it's a great area to communicate, and a lot of veteran members we have share charts, and even current up-and-coming students are sharing charts. I think it's a great place to kind of talk and post and share, and a lot of helpful, useful people in the group. So again, if you're not a member, just consider signing up for a free trial. Doesn't cost anything. Besides that, my usual pitch. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and make sure to not sit on the computer for too long. Try to exercise, exercise. Eat healthy, spend time with family, so on and so forth, that kind of stuff. I say it every week. And I guess I'll see you on the site. And if I don't see you there, I will see you here next week. Same time, same place, maybe 5 minutes late, maybe 5 minutes early. Who knows what can happen? Probably late though. All right. Have a good weekend, guys. Watch the Joe Rogan podcast tomorrow. And yeah, I'll see you on the site. All right.